I'm loving that music.
More Diodato. I was trying to decide which one to use, and I had two choices. I said, I'll just use them both. We're going to be doing a lot of these.
Diodato.
Welcome to Every Friday with Dan and Olivia. I'm Dan Miles.
I'm Olivia Dalbo.
So, I get to pick the topic. I meant to say I, and I said my, but because this is an...
topic.
My topic will be... Because this is a warts and all kind of thing, we're not going to do it again. We're just going to leave it in there. So, because you've been in a lot of films and television shows, every so often I want to grab one of them and talk about it. And it seemed like the logical one to do early in the run of the podcast is talk about a movie that happened early in the run of your career, maybe the very beginning.
Wow.
We're talking about Conan the Destroyer.
Wow.
And you weren't
in the beginning.
You weren't billed as introducing Olivia Dabo. So was that your first film or not?
No, it was my second film, but it kind of, it was right there in the genesis of my movie making.
How old were you when you shot it?
Oh, well, about 14.
About 14. See, one of the things I want to talk about in this movie is, apart from the movie itself...
I had my 15th birthday party that Arnold Schwarzenegger threw for me in these amazing mountains just near Mexico City. And it was a surprise birthday party with like my mom and some of the crew, and Sven and Eric who were Arnold's two like touring, I want to say bodyguards, but he didn't really need a bodyguard. They were more like his workout guys, his workout buddies.
Pump you up.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I wanted to say. I mean, your three main co-stars was an interesting assemblage because you said you were a teenager, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, he came to acting through bodybuilding.
Yes.
Wilt Chamberlain was also primarily an athlete. I don't think I've seen him in any other movies. Even Kareem has done more movies than Wilt Chamberlain. Besides this one, Grace Jones, she was a model and a singer. Even though you were very young and you're working with these adults, they weren't much more experienced on movie sets than you were. So
no.
Was there a feeling that even though they're considerably older than you were kind of on equal footing in terms of acting experience?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree. I think I didn't really realize that at the time, and I didn't really realize, I didn't know who Wilt Chamberlain was or Grace Jones. I kind of came to discover, when she came with her like 8 trunks of shoes, that she was a serious rock star. And I mean, we all just got to know each other, which was amazing. And then things kind of transpired from there, and I kind of got the sense that, we were all kind of just beginning in that aspect of our careers.
But you were all good. I mean, you were very good in the part. Schwarzenegger had already done one as Conan. Wilt Chamberlain was good, I felt.
Yeah, he was great.
But did you guys do a lot of looping in that? Yeah,
well, actually, they looped Wilt Chamberlain's voice.
So a different person did his voice altogether?
Yeah. And I don't know why. Because his natural speaking voice was pretty cool and right for the role. But I think they maybe wanted somebody with a lower voice. I know that they couldn't find a horse that was big enough for him.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
So they had to ship one in from Spain.
Yeah, it just seems to me that almost any time you guys were outdoors, it looked like a dubbed film. I mean, it was you guys dubbing yourselves generally. And I know that they do that a lot of the time because there's a lot of extraneous noise and stuff.
The ADR, I mean, it's funny. I remember Richard Fleischer had me scream a lot, doing a lot of ADR. I'm not going to do it on mic, but it was just this piercing scream, and I can't believe he just didn't say, take that down a notch.
It's so funny.
It was even loud. It was even higher than that. I just sounded like literally a 2-month-old.
Okay,
screaming.
The first thing your character does, Princess Jenna, is enter the film screaming.
Yeah.
The ice palace collapses. You scream again. Someone grabs you off a horse. You scream. Conan's battling a monster. You scream. I mean, there's a lot of screaming and yelling in that role. Did it take a toll on your voice?
Well, you gag that chick, please. Somebody gag her.
Well, I mean, was there it seemed like there was a lot of screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
There was a lot of gap in the movie. It wasn't like you were like one constant scream.
Yeah.
You also spoke.
But it was so suspenseful, Dan, was it not?
Well, I was conscious of the fact she's screaming again. She's screaming because I know that Drew Barrymore, I think, said when she auditioned for E.T., one of the things they asked her to do was scream because that character screams when they see E.T. and you want to have a good, convincing scream. So when I watched the movie, I watched it a long time ago. I watched it a week or so ago in preparation for this.
Oh.
And I kept noticing that the dialogue seemed added later. Some of the interior scenes, maybe not. I didn't know it was because of Schwarzenegger's accent or it's attributed to, sometimes there's wind or, airplanes flying by. And if you just film everything and then go back and loop it, then, it's a common thing for movies. It's just, and a lot of movies we see are literally dubbed, So I felt like I was watching a dubbed movie in English by English actors dubbing themselves.
I completely agree, and I have that experience every time I watch it. There's this one particular line that Bombada has. It's something like, "Take the girl." Don't forget to take the girl.
Right. I remember that moment.
And it's like this just kind of random voice that just comes out of nowhere, and it completely takes you out of the film.
Now, when Conan came out, did you go to a theater to see it?
Yeah, I went to the Man's Chinese is where it premiered, and I was
premiere.
I was with my mom, and I had a date, and this guy I really had a crush on, and we went, and he drove me home in his Alfa Romeo.
Good times. And now, so it seems like usually...
And I was 16.
That's what I was going to say. That usually these work, you shoot it when you're 14, and it comes out when you're 15 or 16.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if anybody recognized you, but if you're at the premiere, it's kind of understood.
Yeah.
I think it was Gwen Stefani who said that for the band No Doubt, it was like one day they weren't famous, then the next day they were. It was like flipping on a switch. It felt that instantaneous to them. I've also heard Chuck Berry say, you can't really explain what being famous is like to someone who isn't, because it's so far beyond what you would imagine or comprehend. So what was it like for you becoming a recognizable, film performer at such a young age? What was your experience?
I was going to this Scientology school at the time called Apple, and I just remember, especially with that particular film, I was gone for 6 months, and I came back, and I suddenly didn't really have any friends anymore because when you're a teenager and you're gone for that amount of time and you come back, everybody's kind of moved on to a new clique of friends, and but then when the movie came out, everybody wanted to be my friend again. Yeah. It's a very trying time being a teenager. I don't wish it upon anyone. My son, he's going through that now, in the latter parts of his teens, and it is it's, I think, one of the most painful times, most confusing times in life, because all your testosterone, your hormones are going at full blast, and you think you know everything, and then you kind of get kicked in the shin a few times, and it hurts, and you have to kind of recoil back from that and realize that you don't know as much as maybe you think that you do.
True. That's an adult job too. I mean, when you go on film sets and make movies, it's a very adult kind of thing, and it almost seems better to start doing it when you are 18 or 19. But
definitely,
there are teenager-y type roles. So what are you going to do? I mean, we had Susan Calciel on the show, and she went to the little scab school with the Brady kids and Eddie Munster.
The
and
scab
stuff.
School. Wait.
Well, I just mean it.
Back up. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is they were kids in entertainment, and they had to create the illusion that they were going to school.
Okay.
So there's some school here somewhere in L.A.
Hollywood High.
Yeah, that they would all go
professional
to.
something
and,
or other.
And hang out there and call it school.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I went to that school for like 5 minutes, and
then
I got the hell out.
Well, about 16, you could be an emancipated minor and just blow all that stuff up anyways.
Yes.
Well, unless you do, I don't have much else to say about Conan. I just wanted to mention it because that's kind of where it begins for you in a way. But I do want to point out to everyone that you've been in a ton of other movies and you're making movies now. And that this podcast itself will be an opportunity for you to talk about movies you're doing. And we'll, along with oliviadabo.net, let people know when these things hit the theaters and where and when they can see them and everything. Are there any ones you've done recently you want to toss out there?
Let's see. I did a Bernard Rose film called The Devil's Violinist, which is about Paganini, set in the 1830s. It's really wonderful, really beautifully shot and very well directed. Lots of great actors, Jolie Richardson and Jared Harris. And I play sort of like an 1830s feminist, really, whose name is Primrose Blackstone. And she looks like a black crow. I mean, literally, I look like a black Statue of Liberty, and I've got like these women surrounding me that I call the Ladies' League of Moral Strength. And I'm trying to take Paganini down because I think that he's preaching the devil's music. And so that's I think just come out. And I have a film called Blue Weekend coming out, which is exciting. A film called Robo Dog, which is coming out, and I'm actually doing the sequel next month. And I just did a film called The Most Peculiar Man. I've some really cool stuff coming out, which I'm excited to talk about. But I'm not going to sit here and go through my entire resume.
No, I just meant that, if we do one of these and you've just come off a set of one of them, you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Or as we go along, we will know the release date for all these. Honestly, we don't know quite yet because the website is still being built, et cetera, et cetera. But there will come a point where as we record these, we'll know exactly when they're going to air, and we'll be able to record episodes in sequence with events like movie premieres.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit about them. I know you did one in Utah, and I know a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's that one too. Yeah.
The Devil's
Christmas Eve
Violinist is cool. That had like an Amadeus vibe in that the sets and the costumes were really cool.
Yes.
And your role was, I wish your role was bigger, but your role was good. And not only, the thing about him having satanic music, he kind of had a debauched sort of lifestyle, though it was presented in there. He's, excessive type of guy. I recommend that movie, Devil's Violinist, to anybody. The other thing that's really cool about that movie is, unlike the Clint Eastwood film about Charlie Parker, where Forrest Whitaker pretended to play the saxophone, or the one about Richie Valens with Lou Diamond Phillips. That dude he's
an amazing musician.
He's a virtuosic violinist,
yeah.
and he's a good-looking dude. And the casting of him, I felt, was a real asset to that film.
I do too. I think I'm always very pro casting real musicians who are playing musicians. Mm-hmm. It's just more effective.
It takes me out of it if I see someone who is obviously, well, let's go to the Partridge Family, shall we? You see a kid pretending to hit a ride cymbal.
There's nothing better than Susan Day, though, on those on those keyboards, swinging her blonde hair, just looking really.
I'm just saying, when you see somebody, quote unquote, playing the drums and you hear a roll or a
I
fill.
worked with David Cassidy in a movie called Spirit of 76, and he brought in some really dope-looking 70s boots from the Partridge Family. It was memorabilia Partridge Family time, and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to use these in the film.
Yeah, I knew about that time. I forgot. Our friend Adam Spiegelman wants to talk to you about that movie on his podcast, Proudly Resents.
Proudly Resents? I love that title.
What he does is he takes a movie like a cult movie or like a bad movie and makes fun of it, but not always. When I was on his show, I actually told him we were going to be doing this, and he immediately mentioned that 76 movie with David Cassidy.
Yeah.
I said I'd talk to you about it, but I talked about a Christopher Guest film, The Big Picture, which isn't the type of thing they usually talk about on this show, but we still managed to make an episode out of it. But
great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to let people in on another behind-the-scenes thing. I'm timing these ones.
It's about our time.
Well, it isn't actually. We got.
We got more time. What are we going to talk about?
Before I play my last song, we got 3 more minutes.
Okay.
And we're on the thing about your movies, and we're on the thing about.
You're dressed very well today. I'm loving the gray with the black. The way it's onsetting the black.
On our audio presentation, let's talk about how we're dressed.
Nice speakers. I'm in white and black, yes. Okay. You can nod.
Okay, everybody, imagine us sitting on couches with headphones, microphones. If I wouldn't have looked down, I couldn't have told you what I was wearing right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad you.
It's a red couch. Is it a red couch or a tan? It's tan with a red cover.
We're actually, we're in a beach house in Malibu overlooking the ocean right now.
Oh, he's snapping a picture.
Yeah. That's another secret we're not going to talk about yet.
Where are we?
The fact that we're not alone in the room.
Yeah, exactly. We're not we are not alone in the room.
We're not technically proficient enough to engineer our own podcast.
We are not, unfortunately.
So even though I was proficient enough to get myself on a plane and get myself to a rental car and connect up, and we still have to have someone else.
Let's talk about our concussions. We both have concussions.
Let's see.
Well, I bumped my head on the bath. Earlier on today, had to go to emergency care, and you bumped your head twice.
Yeah,
at the rental car place.
Well, not at the rental car place. Getting into the car. The amount of head clearance. There's something weird about this Buick, whatever I'm driving. I got into it and I smacked my head really hard, and I was annoyed by it. But by the time I had driven from the Bob Hope Airport to the hotel in Burbank Airport. To the hotel and checked in and went back to my car to park it, I'd forgotten all about it. So when I got in the car again, I hit my head like twice as hard.
What did you say? What did you really say? Profanity, please.
I said, dang diddly doodle.
Diddly squat wang bang.
My freaking brain pan. No, but it was so funny because I just did that. I wasn't going to tell anybody about it. And then Olivia comes to pick me up curbside to come over to the fancy studio we're at. And she goes, I'm sorry I'm late. I hit my head. Are you kidding me? 15 minutes ago, I hit my head. So there you go. Here's another thing I want to tell you guys. The episodes might be episode 1 in one regard, and they might be the December 14th episode. But I'm going to go back later and give these clever, what's the word I'm looking for?
Clever.
If I wouldn't hit my head earlier and lost my mental facilities.
You are at a loss for words.
Yeah, I'm going to give them...
I know that feeling.
I'm going to give them titles that don't give away what the topic is. Part of the fun of the show is I don't know what your topics are, what your songs are, and you don't know mine.
Yeah.
I'll remember the word tonight at 3:30 a.m. in bed, and I'll go, oh yeah, in another podcast I'll need to say that. What I'm just saying is if these episodes have funny titles, we're not going to come up with those till the shows are already recorded. We're not going to put any pressure on ourselves to do that.
Yeah.
But now... After all this yakety yak blabbity blah, we are at a point where we can talk about the outgoing music. For our outro music today, I decided to go the mashup route. We've used one already, which was the Rocky Beatles thing we opened our last episode with. What I like about mashups is that very often a song will become stale, played out, overly familiar. We're like, oh no, not that again. But when you take two familiar songs and jam them together to create a new one, I like how you can refresh them and make them interesting again. So you're going to be hearing a lot of those on the show. It won't be exclusively because we have to give Diodato his moment too. But
yeah.
In fact, here comes a cool mashup right now. Check this out. See what you think. Okay, well, I hope everyone enjoyed hearing Peter Gabriel get his chocolate all up in Leonard Skinner's peanut butter.
Oh, wow, that is a double entendre.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, notice I said chocolate and peanut butter. So anything in chocolate would be even another more obvious entendre.
Right.
Also, and by the way, cryptic was the word I was trying to remember.
Cryptic.
Cryptic
it came
titles.
back sooner than you thought. You must not have that big of a concussion. I think mine's much bigger.
I just am waiting for the moment where we turn and bump heads.
Right.
So, hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.